All right, everyone. So at this point, you should have the custom driver chip and the Arduino completely assembled and soldered. You should have the motors, the X motor and the Y motor. And now we're going to actually attach the two motors together. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this piece and we're going to place it on top of here and screw it in. Important note, make sure you put the long end of this piece, of this black machined piece, away from the silver side. So the short end should be on the silver side, the long end should be away. And the reason we want this is when we put this motor on top of here, we want more of the motor facing down in this direction. And that's because when you actually move this, you don't want this part of the motor to interfere with the post. Then we're going to take this motor, the Y motor, and screw it on top of this piece so that you can actually move the stage together. Now we don't have low profile M3 screws, and so we actually laser cut this plate to go over top to make sure that the second motor will sit flush on top of the first motor. Okay, so now we have the piece attached to the motor, and we are now going to attach the X motor to the Y motor. Now, something we're going to note is that we want to have all of the wires in the back of the device. So you can see here in our first iteration, we have these wires to the back in both of these cases so that it doesn't interfere with any of the scanning and the images that are happening in the front. Make sure that when we flip this over and place it on top, you'll note that we're screwing the motor in here and not over here. And the reason for that is we just want as little torque on this piece as possible. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to screw these parts in. Now that we have the two motors connected, the next step is to attach the base to the X stage. All right, so you can see it appears to be balanced right actually in the middle of the 6th and 7th hole. So that's where we're going to put this base plate. And you see we place it with the drilled out side of the big holes facing down. And you can see these holes right here facing up. So now we've screwed on this plate. So we're going to flip the thing right side up again. And now we are actually going to put the stage on top of the motors. So here you go. This is what it should look like. You have the base with the counterweight side next to this silver side. You have the XY linking plate where the longer part of the linking plate is, or rather I should say the shorter part of the linking plate is lined up with this silver side, or the shorter part is closer to the wires. And then here you have this base plate where the base plate has two open holes on the right, or two open holes near the wires, and has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 open holes on the side farther from the wires. So now we're going to take this, flip it over, and screw it into the table. Now for our purposes, because we don't have flush screws, you can see there's some level here to the screws. So we're going to use an acrylic spacer. When we actually put these screws into the ground, we can have a more level surface. All right, everybody, we have it pretty much set up. You'll notice I had to switch the configuration of the post. So I got the maximum length because it turns out this motor has a pretty wide surface area that it covers, going from all the way here to all the way here. Currently we have it focused on the first well, the A1 well, and as you can see there's plenty of travel for the Nautilus to scan through the entire plate. Something to note, I had to switch power cords because the Arduino is making a really high-pitched sound, and it was actually causing the motors not to work well. So Watch out for that. It seems to be working well now, though I haven't actually tested, like the camera's all misoriented, but I haven't actually tested anything but the motion. But if you look, boom, if you look here, there it is. So you see that the Y position motor is a little bit slower than the X, but that's okay. This is the setup. We have the Arduino connected to the custom driver board chip plugged into the X motor, the Y motor. This is the stage, which holds the 96 well plate. And we have the tube lens, the camera, and our objective. Over post, other optics holding equipment, and then here's our baby, the Jetson Nano control and everything. So there you have it.